Good evening, boys and girls. So, this is just a wee tiny video. Well, hopefully, because I do say that quite a lot and it ends up really long. But it was just to tell you about something really weird that happened today. My daughter and my partner Mikey and my dog and I went to the park, which isn't unusual at all because we live just up the road from the park. So we went to Ravenscraig Park, which I will talk about a lot and you've seen before and will see again. And we went to Ravenscraig Castle. Again, not unusual because we go there all the time. So we went to Ravenscraig Castle and there was three, maybe age 50 to 60 maybe, people, two women and a man, and they looked very sightseery. They looked like they were maybe on holiday. And today was a really nice day, and they came out of Ravenscraig Castle across the wooden bridge where you go into it, and they smiled at us and they were really pleasant and they were remarking on how cute the dog was and stuff. And then we got through the entranceway of Ravenscraig and I noticed feet on this side, and it was of a young gentleman, maybe in his teens, about maybe 14, 15 at the most, and there was a couple of bikes sitting beside him, and I thought, fair enough, it's just kids climbing in the castle. And we walked further out into the ruins of the castle, and my daughter was climbing on things and we were just larking about kind of thing. And I turned round and there was another gentleman who was maybe in his late teens, early 20s with this other guy, and he was climbing down the way that you can get into the castle. He climbed down, and he didn't have a t-shirt on, he had lots of tattoos and a bandana, and I didn't think anything peculiar about them. I didn't really want to be around them because for some reason I got quite a bad vibe off them. I don't know why, I just did. And they got on their bikes and they instantly came towards where we were. Where we were, there's like this little mound of what's left of some of the castle. It's not very high, it's maybe about tummy height or something, and my daughter was climbing on it. And in front of there's maybe about another foot of grass, 2-3 foot of grass, and then the metal fence goes round so that you don't drop off the very edge and onto the beach. Mikey was standing right at the side of this little mound that we were climbing on, and there's not much space between the mound and the fence. And these guys came right down beside Mikey, and they kept watching us. And then they moved further down a little bit to the edge where the sheer drop is, and they kept watching us and looking at us. And I mean, I'm used to people looking at me because I look quite peculiar for the people around here. And they're looking at us and staring at us, and I was like, I'm really getting even more of a bad vibe off these guys now. They're staring at us. And it wasn't just me, they're staring at my daughter, they're staring at Mikey, and they're watching the dog. And I'm like, no, we need to go. So I said to Erin, I was like, yeah, let's go to the park. So she was excited about going to the park, so we come out of the ruined area and through the alcove of the castle and on to the wooden bridge to get back out. And just as we were coming off the wooden bridge, which is maybe about 9-10 feet long, it's not very long but it's quite narrow, we got to the edge of the bridge and I turned round and these two guys are coming out of the alcove of the castle, and I was still getting a really bad feeling about them. They kept watching us And I kept saying to myself, I was like, don't be silly. I mean, lots of people would be like leaving at the same time we would be leaving. There's nothing wrong with these guys. You're heading the same direction because it's the only way out. So we walked around the wooded area and then out into the main bit of the park and took Erin over to the play park. But as Erin was playing on some of the stuff at the play park, these guys come down the side of us. Now there was a lot of other people at the park, at the play park, not at the castle but at the play park. And they come down the side of us and they drop their bikes and they're wandering around the park, and one of them's like on this side and the other one's on this side, and they're still staring at us, watching the dog, watching Erin, watching Mikey, and keep looking at me. And I'm like, there's something really not right about these guys. And Erin decided that she was going to like the climbing frame bit. She had just been at the trampoline, so you go down a little hill, and I let her run as far as I can see her. Then it's fine if she wants to run. So she ran down to go to the climbing frame area, and as she runs away, Mikey turned to me and said, there's something going on with those guys. And I hadn't voiced any concern about these guys at all. I was actually waiting until Erin was away, out of earshot, and then I was going to say to him, there's something creeping me out about these two guys. But he got to it before I did. So he's like, there's something not right about those guys. Have you seen them watching us? And they're following us. I was like, I thought that too. I was about to say to you. And he was like, no, I'm feeling really bad vibes from them. And I was like, so am I. So we walk down to where Erin is, and she had her scooter with her, like one of those two-wheel things, and I had it over my shoulder. And I thought, if any of those guys come near us, I'm going to smack them with a scooter. And the younger of the two, he went up onto the climbing frame thing, and Erin's shouting at me, and she's like, Mummy, lift me on this thing, Mummy, help me over here. So I put the scooter down for her to go and help her. And as I turn round, the younger guy is like walking right up the side of Mikey, and he's like staring at me, like staring. And I turn round and I give him like daggers. I'm looking at him like, don't you fucking dare, pal. Because I didn't know what he was up to. I didn't know if he was like looking to steal anything, because I had my backpack with me. I don't know if they were like out to just start trouble with Mikey, or maybe they were trying to start trouble with me, because I mean that's happened to me quite a lot. People who want to start trouble with me just because I look different. And he kept looking at me and then looking at Mikey, and I'm looking at him going, don't fucking dare. And he kind of backs off a little bit as I went back over towards Mikey. And he kept looking at the dog as well, and I was like, are you going to try and steal my dog? Because Jackie is a short-haired tricolour Chihuahua, which they're worth a lot of money. They're really expensive, and if you stud them, they can make a lot of money as well. They're little gold mines, pretty much, if you want to use them like that. And there has been a lot of dog thieves in like the Fife area who steal to order. They'll steal Chihuahuas, they steal Pomeranians, you know, any kind of like highly sought after expensive dog. And I thought, are you trying to take my dog or something? Because he kept watching the dog as well, which I thought was quite unusual. Or maybe he was looking at the dog and thinking, if I want to start some shit with Mikey, this dog's not much of a threat, it's not really going to bite me, is it? Because it's tiny. So that could have been why he was looking at the dog, I really don't know. But it was creeping me the fuck out. And I was just like, Mikey, come over beside us, because I wanted us to all stay together. So he moved while we were all together, but they're still watching us. The older of the two I don't know where he had went at this point. I had seen him going up this side of us while this young guy was on this side. But after that I lost sight of him. I didn't know where he was. And I was trying to say to Erin, I was like, look, we really have to go to the shops, because it was late afternoon and we hadn't been shopping because I got paid today. So we really needed to go get some food because it's payday, so by the time payday comes back round we're skint and we don't have any fucking food in the house. So we had to go shopping. So I was like, Erin, come on, we need to go, we have to go to the shops. So the young guy is still watching us. So I said to Erin, I was like, Mummy, I'll take the scooter. And she's like, why? And I'm like trying to say to her, look, I'll explain to you later, Mummy, I'll take the scooter. Because I was thinking, I have a child with me and I have my little dog with me. I'm not going to stand here and try and fight with anybody who wants to start something. If they come near me, I'm scalping them with a scooter. And that's it. So I carried it over my shoulder like a pickaxe. And we left the play area and we walked up the park to the exit. And we crossed the road and we come up one of the side streets. And Mikey and I were talking about how creepy these guys were and how like uncomfortable they had been feeling and how weird it was that they were like following us. And then we were trying to rationalise it and say, look, maybe they were just going the same places that we were going. And then Mikey was saying things like it could be entirely innocent, and I laughed at what he said, right? Because he said it could be entirely innocent. He says maybe they were just like, let's follow the hot alt chick round. And I was like, Mikey, don't be stupid. But he says no, it could have been something that they were just like, oh, let's just follow people around, or let's do this, or they were maybe just coincidence, they were going to the same places we were. But then why were they constantly staring at us and like watching the dog and everything? It was really creepy. So we come out of there and we're just discussing this stuff, and we get to the end of the road where we needed to turn into another street, which is a one-way street and it's quite narrow. There's cars parked up one side because it's all houses, and if cars come up that way then there's no room to manoeuvre because cars can't come down and cars can't overtake. And as we were turning the corner, I kind of like looked back like that, and these two guys are at the end of the road that we've just come up on their bikes, and they're like coming up towards us. And I said, Mikey, you're not going to believe this. He's like, what? I went, those guys are still behind us. And he was like, right. So we're trying to say to Erin, look, stay in between us and so that we can see you. And she was like, can I take the dog and stuff? And we're like, no, let Mikey take the dog, you walk in between us, I'm going to carry the scooter. And then she's taking a huff, and we're like trying to say to her, look, we'll tell you why later, but just behave, stay in between us so we know where you are. So as we're walking up this road, this guy stops his car right in the middle of the road, where there's cars parked on this side and there's a van behind him. But he stops and he's hanging out the window and he says to Mikey, oh, is that a Chihuahua? And Mikey says, yeah. And he goes, oh, he's really cute, he's really nice. He had a semi-Polish accent, but it might not have been Polish, if that makes sense. It was foreign and it sounded kind of Eastern European type accent. But there was something quite off about it. You know, like if you have an accent and then you go and you live somewhere else for a long time and it sort of changes your accent and you have kind of colloquial words in there that you wouldn't normally have. He had this weird kind of speech about him. And he said to Mikey, is that a Chihuahua? Oh, he's so cute and blah blah blah. And he's like talking about the dog. But he's holding up this van behind him. And then he says, I have one just like that. They're very small, aren't they? And I was like, yeah, they're very small. And he was just like, mine's is white and it has black dots. Chihuahuas are really nice. And I was like, yeah. And then he drove off. And I said to Mikey, if he has a Chihuahua, then why did he stop and say, is that a Chihuahua? I have one. because you would know that it was a fucking Chihuahua if you had one, wouldn't you? And the fact of them being white with black spots, that sounds quite unusual for a Chihuahua. I don't know. I haven't really seen the Chihuahua that was white with black spots before, but it was just really peculiar. And so we're a bit on edge and everything and just trying to get up the road because these guys are behind us. And we're taking all of these like alternative routes. We're going like in this street and up that street and in this street and up that, so that they weren't having like an easy time trying to follow us. And we lost sight of them after that, but I've been feeling really uneasy ever since. And I don't know if the guy in the car was anything to do with the other guys. I really don't know. But they were quite... It was just so weird that they were following us and they were staring at us and they were watching us and they were watching the dog. And I was like, maybe are they dog thieves? And they were kind of eyeing up if they could whip the dog away. Maybe the guy in the car was like somebody related to them or paying them, and they stopped at the end of the street and phoned and went, by the way, the Chihuahua's up there. You know what I mean? I don't know. But we don't know what they were doing. We don't know if they wanted to start any like hassle and stuff, or looking for a fight, or if it was me that was attracting them, if it was Mikey that was attracting them, if it was the dog that was attracting them, if it was Erin that was attracting them. You know what I mean? And like I've said in one of my other videos, depending on which ones go up first, people round about here have went batshit fucking crazy recently. And Kirkcaldy isn't that bad an area. I mean, there's bad bits, there's rough bits, there's arseholes, there's nice people. But I grew up in a pretty rough area and I'm kind of fine with it. And there's a lot less hassle here than there was where I lived. But people round about here over the last few months have went fucking mental. I think there's some kind of gas leak or something going on somewhere, because there's like teachers being poisoned, there's pregnant women being beaten up to the point where they miscarry, there's been somebody else was murdered, there was an accident in one of the roads and somebody was killed, the cat has been shot, a dog was stolen, tied to a tree and set on fire. These people are going fucking crazy right now. So I'm a little bit on edge, a little bit. And then I'm being followed and being watched and stared at by two weird looking kids. And not that they looked peculiar, I mean like their attire, I mean it wasn't highly peculiar to me, but you know, there's like one guy who's maybe early teens and a guy who's like late teens, early 20s hanging out together, and then they're like following you and staring at you. That's why I mean they looked weird. What they were doing was weird. They appeared to be acting weird. And then some gentleman stopping in the middle of the road for to ask, is that a Chihuahua? No, it's a fucking elephant. But creepy, much. Lots of creepy, much. But anyway, that was my weird day that I have had today. And I'm going to try and get some stuff online. Ewan might be coming up so that we can do a different video or two. Erin is now in bed and Mikey's at his friend's. And my door is fucking locked. Little bit on edge. But yeah, comment below if anybody knows who these fucking creepy kids were. I mean, I don't know, maybe they have learning difficulties or something and they were just kind of, I don't know, attracted to an animal or a kid or purple hair or something, I don't know. And I'm just being a complete and utter asshole. Or maybe they were like the gypsies from just in the field bit just at the side of the Ravenscraig Castle, because there's a lot of gypsies living there just now. Nothing against gypsies, my daughter is quarter gypsy, so I'm not being a cow, but some gypsies, wee bit fucking creepy, they're not right. And you can't deny They're all fucking hard as a coffin nail. They're all hard. They're all seriously fucking violent. But creepy kids. I mean, I've never seen them around before, and I usually notice kids. I used to work in a video game store, so I kind of know a lot of people from when they used to come in and out to the video game store, and I notice a lot of people that I know because I've seen them around. And I drink here, and I hang out here, and I shop here, and a lot of my friends are around here, so I usually notice people. Even if I don't know them or I haven't met them before, I've usually seen them with other people around. But I've never seen these two guys before, like ever, never even noticed them. And the older guy, I mean, I would notice somebody who looked like him because he had like the bandana and was covered in tattoos and stuff, and I tend to kind of notice these kind of people because I know most of them. So, thinking, my dog's making weird noises, that they might have been the gypsies, maybe. Then again, that might have explained that guy's peculiar kind of half Polish, half not kind of weird accent, or he might have had fuck all to do with them as well. It might just have been a series of weird coincidences. But yeah, that was my thing. So if anybody has any input on that, or if I'm just paranoid to fuck, then fair enough, just say. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.